Hi, I'm David Blaze. Please excuse my appearance and the noises and the birds and the lawnmowers. I was out here today and it's a beautiful day, and something occurred to me that I wanted to share with you before I forgot it. And it's about the very small number of things that actually allow you to multiply your revenue, your income, and your results. Now, in a recent podcast, I was talking about a client of ours who multiplied her gross sales from $250,000 to over $1 million. And while many people are impressed with that sort of growth, others are quite rightly skeptical. How do you literally multiply your revenue in a relatively short period of time? Well, the truth is there are a lot of ways to do it, but let's focus on the simplest approach, the one that seems to work best for the majority of people in general, and certainly the majority of our clients. And it starts with maximizing revenue from your existing client base while supplementing with new business. Simple, right? Well, easier to say, a little more challenging to do. But in a nutshell, here's how it works. Let's say you sold $250,000 to your existing client base over the course of the last year, but you feel confident that you can get those same people to spend maybe $300,000 or maybe $350,000 or maybe even $400,000 with you, with the right approach, of course, over the next year. Cool. So now you go from 250 to maybe 300 or 350 or 400. That's great. But if your goal is to be at $1 million, that still leaves a shortfall of anywhere from $600,000 to $700,000, which is a big number if you're currently doing 250. So if you want to hit your goal, you're going to need to focus on maximizing revenue from your existing client base to get them to the 350 to 400,000 mark that you estimated, while also adding or layering in another $600,000 to $650,000 in gross sales from new business to get you to your $1 million number. Now, can you do that in a year? Well, if you use the same approach that got you to 250, then probably not, especially if you've been using that $250,000 approach and languishing in that sales range for a long period of time. But what if you were using a different approach, a better approach? Even better than that, what if you were using different and better approaches in 4 key areas? First, client reactivation, having a system to get your former and lapsed clients to re-engage with you, reorder, and spend more money. Second, account penetration, getting more of the people inside the organizations that you're already working with to place more of their business with you. Because when you multiply the number of people you're dealing with inside an organization, it becomes a whole lot easier to multiply your revenue. Third, customer acquisition. This is the obvious one. Getting more of the prospects, essentially meaning all of the people that you're interacting with, to choose you over your competitors and place more orders with you. And then fourth, market multiplication. This is where it really gets fun. This allows you to pull more business from people, industries, and markets that have never spent a single dime with you. Think of it this way. If you're currently pulling most of your business from one primary market, whether that's a geographic market or an industrial market, or even just a program or product specialty, what's likely to happen if you start pulling business from 2 markets, or 4 markets, or 8 markets? You get the idea. Of course, some of those markets might spend a whole lot less than the ones that you're used to working with, but some of them might spend a whole lot more, especially when you're proactive about who you're targeting. Most businesses are not. So obviously, when you're focused on the right things, multiplying your revenue becomes a whole lot easier and also a lot more likely. Of course, the big variable here is almost entirely about what you're doing and how you're doing it, what you're saying and how you're saying it, who you're approaching and how you are approaching them. If you want to improve your results dramatically, you don't actually have to change everything you're doing, though. However, you will very likely have to change how you're doing some of those things, specifically in the 4 key areas that we just discussed. Okay, so right now, at this point, after this ramble, you have 3 primary choices. You can A, completely disregard everything I just told you and continue on with business as usual. You can B, use the 4 key areas that I just mentioned to you as a guidepost and take a do-it-yourself approach to figuring out all the steps, the details, the processes, and the procedures to make it happen. Or C, if you're even remotely open to the idea of having a simple conversation about putting our proven systems and processes in the 4 key areas to work for you, then go to topsecrets.com/keys and schedule a call to see if it makes sense for us to talk about working together. If it does, great. I'd love to work with you. And if it doesn't, that's great too. We'll have a conversation, we'll get closure, and it'll probably still spark a lot of ideas about things that you can implement on your own going forward to improve your results. So it's a win-win. If you're open to that, if you're open to improving your business in the 4 key areas I just mentioned, go to topsecrets.com/keys and let's talk.